that is going to carry over into what I'm intending to do during Advent and maybe Christmas. And that is to look at Jesus Christ as the center. I don't remember where this came up in my training, but we talked about the Christocentric nature of everything. And if you think about in the ancient world, they had a heliocentric model of the universe, where they had a Earth-centered model of the universe, and then Galileo comes up with his heliocentric. The sun is the center of the galaxy. Now we know that the solar system. Now we now know that was also equally wrong, and there's lots and lots of stuff going on there. But theologically, the theologians of the day really pointed out, it doesn't matter where the center of the cosmos is. The center of everything is actually Jesus. So last week we saw how Jesus puts himself in the place of the earthly temple. That you're going to tear down this temple, and I'm going to replace it with myself. And the next step he goes in to say is, actually, everything you see right now is going to be gone. And it was. The Romans left nothing. You go to the Temple Mount today, there's a mosque. There is not a single structure or tree from the time of Jesus Christ on Mount Zion in Jerusalem in Israel. None of it. The Romans thoroughly destroyed everything. What they left was the bulkhead the temple was built on top of. That's it. If you ever wondered what it's like to really destroy something, in the ancient world, they really did a number on some of these things. They didn't do to Jerusalem the worst possible things. Other places, though, they did. We're going to sow salt in your fields. We're going to call the priests from 4 or 5 different pagan religions, and they're going to curse. They did some terrible things to each other. What Jesus is talking about is you've got to let go of all of the created world. Let go of you. It is not what is going to save you. And the premier example in his day and age was the temple. I don't know if you've ever traveled to France, been to Paris, Italy, been to Rome. It's amazing. All you got to do is stand still and listen. And eventually, you're going to hear some English-speaking tourists go, "Isn't this amazing? Wow, look at that." You know what this looks like, right? And you got to imagine it was so easy. Jesus is in the temple area and he's trying to teach one thing, and all these guys are just going, look at how magnificent this temple is. And sort of nonchalantly, he comes into that and says, yeah, one day is coming. Not a stone upon another stone. It'll all be gone. And you got to imagine in the minds of the hearers, that would have been the same as pointing them to Mount Everest and going, there's a day coming when that won't be here. Now, of course, there's 2 edges to this, right? There is going to be a day when even the mountains are gone, when the sun will blow itself out and all life on earth will cease. That day is coming. It is a long time from now. But even the most permanent things you and I experience are temporary. They might be temporary on a cosmic scale, but they're temporary nonetheless. And the whole idea for Jesus, all of that stuff you're holding on to, all of it is going to go away. The one thing that remains is God. And Jesus now puts himself in the center of our cosmos. Everything you have ever seen, touched, tasted, felt, experienced is going to fade. And if you become attached to any of it, it will drag you down. And let me tell you, you all know this. This is a hard thing to deal with. We struggle with letting go of silly things. I don't know about you, but I have a drawer of things that I don't want to throw away. The nice thing about the part of my life when this was not enjoyable in the moment, right? One of the pros of being moved every year for the first 5 years is I didn't have a lot of stuff. Because every year I got a chance to throw stuff away. And it was in the context of, man, I really don't want to have to move with this again. And I haven't moved in a long time. So guess what? I got me a lot of stuff. And I don't want to part with any of it. You know the feeling. You grow attached. And some of it is the admittedly a little shameful laziness of, it's just easier to, put this in a closet than it is to throw it away or find a new home for it. I get that. My worst defense is paper. I keep so much paper. And I become attached to it as if it's a security blanket. You're never going to use any of that stuff. And that's the silly end of this, right? When you start to look at the more important things, the bigger things, the more important elements of life, some of those things we're attached to too. And ultimately, they don't matter. Every institution that we have ever established, every monument we've ever built, every country we've ever drawn lines for to create borders, every one of those things came in and is going to go. This church, this building is going to get replaced at some point. Admittedly, hopefully not in my tenure here. I have dealt with enough renovations in natural disasters and all of those things. Now, there'd be a great reason why we have to replace this church. Wouldn't it be awesome if suddenly we went from 900 people on a big Sunday to 3,000? We ain't gonna fit, and I can't do 10 masses on a Sunday. Not if you guys want me around here for a long time. I might be able to do that for a few weeks, but there's a limit there. Wouldn't it be great if that was the reason why? But ultimately, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado or the sun blows up, this building is going to go away. And this country is probably going to get replaced. This state might get replaced. Other places are very familiar with that. We've only ever known our country. But you got to think of most of Europe, they didn't have countries for most of their history. They had city-states. We've never had that. We've always had states. We've always had countries. And some of that stuff, that's going to fade too. But the one thing that is stable and certain, there's a handful of things, right? The truth. Up is up, down is down. 2 plus 2 is always going to be 4. You might use different symbols for it, but the math is always going to be the same. And God, Jesus Christ, the maker of the whole cosmos. If there is anything you spend your time and your energy on, cling to Him. Everything else is going to fade away, disappoint you, or hurt you. Or some combination of all three of those things. Cling to God. No disappointment. It's what you were made for.